low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Well, hello, this is Fran McNamara, and for the next hour I'll be reading from the February 6th through 12th issue of Buffalo Business First on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. So let's get right to it here, and I'm looking at the screen, and the screen is showing me the front page, and it's got what looks like it could be a microphone, but it's not. It's a wired one of those newfangled light bulbs, and it's rising above others, and it's got cover story, startups to watch. They've raised funding, built facilities, and created new products, all right here in Buffalo. And we think that's just the start. So that's going to be on page 8 by Josh Gully. And then at the bottom there's a little blurb at the bottom telling us about 3 articles in this issue. One is The List. These are Western New York's largest private secondary schools. That's on page 16. Then Power Person, college president leans on his faith. St. Bonaventure and Gingrich discovered his sympathy early in life, and that's by Donna Collins, and that's going to be on page 3. And then Kissing Bridge focuses on guests. New owner plans more partnerships, events, and food and beverage offerings, and that's going to be Lee and Bunny on page 5. So let's get the first things first. Those are always interesting, at least in my estimation. Data and details. And there's a beautiful picture here of the Evans House, and it looks like probably, I'm guessing here, maybe built around 1920, and it says the Evans House on Evans Street in Williamsville. Tracy Drury writes, a New York City-based halal, that's right, halal burger franchise and a Mediterranean kitchen with ties to a local steakhouse are among more than a dozen new restaurants and hospitality venues that opened across Buffalo areas in January. So here's the openings. The first they mention, it's Tortuga has reopened at 3835 Buffalo Street in Sanborn, while its location on Delaware Avenue in Kenmore has closed, at least temporarily. Owner Andrew Sadala is dealing with HVAC system repairs and other issues according to social media posts. The Bank Shot has set February 2nd as its opening date at 670 Main Street in East Aurora. The indoor golf recreation facility developed by Kamer, that's with a C, Kamer Development Group in the former Bank of America, will include a bar serviced by 42 North serving beer, wine, and liquor. The simulators will also offer multi-sport, shooting, and carnival-style games. And that's The Bank Shot is the name of the place, and that's going to be in East Aurora. Next we have Occasions by Ostera has opened a catering and banquet center on Whitehaven Boulevard in Grand Island, and it's in the former Knights of Columbus Hall. Okay. Osteria 106 former Nick Perillo is part of the team that invested $1.8 million to convert this hall into an event space. Okay, number 3 is great title. Holy Burger, oh my, has opened on Broadway and Dick Road in the village of Depew, formerly home to a Tim Hortons. Wow. The New York City-based burger franchise offers a selection of halal beef and chicken burgers, fries, chicken tenders, cheesesteak, and sliders. Next, we have CHA, C-H-A, CHA Lab, opened in mid-December on Main Street in Williamsville, offering fruit teas, milk tea, and boba, as well as espressos and lattes. It replaced Squeeze Juicery, which moved down the block to 5712 Main in 2025. Next, we have the one pictured there. The Evans House opened at 27 Evans Street in Williamsville as a private events venue. Owner Cheryl Ann Gill also operates the Everyday Gourmet catering business, and 6 years ago opened SZND, Zend, at 1448 Hurl Avenue. She bought the building at 27 Evans Street in Williamsville, formerly home to the Hairworks Hair Salon. She bought it in 2023 for $570,000. Okay, well, that's the Evans House. Okay, next we have Bauer Country Store has opened on Ellicott Road in Orchard Park, where John Caputo took over the former Rick's Country Store. That's R-I-X. The store also houses a small Tim Hortons franchise and Otto's Pizza. Okay, next we have the Rose Bar has opened at 199 Scott Street in Buffalo, where Rose Bar and Grill closed after 6 years inside Ellicott Development's Fairmont Creamery building. Closed since March 2024. The restaurant is operated by members of the team that opened Loud House on Hurdle Avenue in 2024. Okay, the next one is Anna Blue, that's B-L-U. Anna Blue Mediterranean Kitchen opens February 12th at 5110 Main Street in Williamsville. The restaurant, an extension of Giancarlo's Sicilian Steakhouse at the Walker Center, will offer a fusion of Greek and Italian cuisine with counter service for lunch and dinner, takeout, and catering. The Body Core, now it's spelled B-O-D-I, the Body Core has opened at 487 Main Street in Buffalo, where E-Cafe previously operated before a move across the street in early 2025. Owner Sadie, S-A-D-I, Sadie Maldonado, offers grab-and-go items and late-night eats, as well as meal prep, catering, and private food events at the site. Now, Pizza Hut has opened at 140 Pine Street in the village of Hamburg. Picone Construction Company completed the build-out for Canadian-based franchisee Maruti Enterprise. Schiafano's Pizzeria has added a location at 3379 Lakeshore Road in Hamburg, formerly home to Yankee BBQ. The pizzeria got its start in 2023 with a site at 4923 Genesee Street in Cheektowaga. And finally, the Underground Nightclub has reopened at 274 Delaware Avenue, Buffalo, under new owner Marty Crawford, a longtime patron who bought the site in mid-2025. The transition comes 4 years after the club won a dispute with the Department of Housing and Urban Development to keep its lease. Okay, so that's a number of openings in January. And it says there, January's restaurant news, halal burgers, boba, beer, and more. And it certainly was. It's quite a variety there. Okay, now on page 3, we have the Power People feature. And again, this is every week. And let's explain what it is. Buffalo Business First publishes 3 annual Power lists: the Power 250, the Power 200 Women, and Power 100 Business Leaders of Color, featuring the top business leaders in Western New York. Each week, we'll tell you more about an executive on those lists. This week, it's Jeff Gingrich, president of St. Bonaventure University. So, there's a picture of Mr. Gingrich in a plaid sport coat, blue tie, big smile on his face, crossed arms, looking very happy to be president of St. Bonaventure University. So, Donna Collins is the one who will be offering the questions or area topics of concern or interview. And let's see what it says here. It's been a winding career path for the Iowa farm boy raised in the Mennonite faith and now the president of St. Bonaventure University. Jeff Gingrich, a first-generation college grad, discovered his empathy early on for people in disadvantaged positions. Unsure of a career after graduation, he moved to New Orleans for community service, a teaching job in the public school system, and lived next door to a housing project. Now here's a quote from him. "It was transformational for me. I never really lived in a community that had such disadvantage compared to all the advantages that I had in life," he said. He learned to observe other people's differences and their environmental factors, which led to his self-perception as a champion of human rights during his 30 years in higher education. Gingrich has held a number of positions: faculty member, dean, provost, interim president at colleges including Bluffton University, Calabrini University, and the University of Scranton. Now here's another quote from him. "As a president and leader, I think it's important to understand your core beliefs and values, and at the same time to interact with, work with, and lead other people who have different perspectives." Close quote. So when he walks around the campus where he became president in June 2022, he relishes listening to students who want to unload about a difficult class or parking or a basketball game. And he says, "I love the fact that students are so very free about coming up and talking to me. They call me Dr. G or President Gingrich. Dr. G is my favorite." He has two goals. First is to build upon AI education for all students as they move into careers. He believes the university can provide ethical training for AI. Second is to become a hub for rural health care and education to take advantage of Bonaventure's location on the southern tier. That's close to his heart since he was raised on a 360-acre pig and corn farm in Parnell, Iowa. Gingrich's father instilled in him a work ethic and a passion for what you're doing. And here's a final quote from him before we get to the questions and answers. "My father loved what he did as a farmer. It wasn't always easy. It didn't always smell good on the farm, but it was a great childhood." Okay, now remember we have Miss Donna Collins here asking Jeff some questions. But first, his Power 250 2025 rank is number 199. So, what was your favorite subject in high school? He says U.S. History at Hillcrest Academy and a class of 32 students in Kalona, Iowa. What don't people know about you? Well, I grew up as a member of the Mennonite Church and I remain a Mennonite today. My mother was born into an Amish family. I'm very proud of my Mennonite roots and that they align with the Franciscan values here at St. Bonaventure's. What do you do when not working? And he says, I'm an avid reader and golf has become a passion in the last 6 years. Do you have any travel plans? And Jeff says, I travel a lot with my wife Betsy as part of my role as president. We're looking forward to a personal trip to Ireland with the family. So what do you keep in mind when dealing with students? And he says, they have an exceptional amount of pressure on them these days as we support them through their university journey. So, what's the best event in the last year? A week with our 5 kids and extended family in the Outer Banks this summer. professionally developing a friendship agreement with the Seneca Nation, and raising the Seneca Nation flag right here on our campus. So then Donna asked Jeff, what's the most amazing part of your job? He says, I'm honored to support our undergraduate students during a critical time in their lives when they're figuring out who they are, what they believe, and who they want to become. Seeing our alumni doing incredible things in the world and supporting our students is a continual reminder that we are building our mission in profound ways. And Donna Collins has a final area, or you can't really call it a question, but well, I guess you could. What is your self-description? Curious. I'm a lifelong learner. Okay, so that's the end of page 2, and I guess we learned a lot about present president of St. Bonaventure University, Jeff Gingrich from Iowa. Okay, now we have the next page. On page 4, we have commercial real estate with Jacob Turney. But before we get to that, I'd like to give you a reminder that you're listening to a reading of articles and features from Buffalo Business First on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, now there's, let's see, how many do we have? Well, actually, there's 3 items, I'll call them items, that Jacob Turney's giving us under commercial real estate. And I'm going to do the mystery big number. Those of you who have heard me read this, you know that I refer to quotes that they have, or in this case, big numbers, as mysteries. Like, okay, this one is $29.8 million. Yikes. Okay, $29.8 million. Well, that could be any number of things, and given today's market and prices. Okay, it says it's the combined total paid by Houston-based Sky Capital Group for 4 Tops-anchored retail plazas in Alden, Concord, Medina, and Niagara Falls. The properties were sold by New York City-based Gershon and Companies, plural. So that's $29.8 million for 4 Tops-anchored retail plazas. Okay, next is sold. There's a new owner for Horse Feathers Building. Developer Carl Fritchen has sold the Horse Feathers Market and Residences Building at 346 Connecticut Street in Buffalo for $3.96 million. The 5-story building houses 24 apartment units and several first-floor commercial spaces. The buyer is 346 Buffalo LLC, and it's led by the investor originally from Western New York, who now lives in California, according to Clark Thrasher of Hunt Commercial Real Estate, who represented the buyer. The timber-framed building was constructed in the late 1800s. It was a retail store for more than a century and is best known to locals as the former Horse Feathers Architectural Antiques, which moved out in 2008. Now again, this is at 346 Connecticut Street in the city of Buffalo. Okay. Fritzian bought the property for $775,000 in 2012 and launched an extensive renovation project to convert it into a mixed-use space, complete with geothermal heating. The current commercial tenants are Augie's Restaurant, the Maine, M-A-N-E room, hair salon, and Aura and Soul Floral Studio. Okay, so then the last and the largest of the articles, all by Jacob Turney on commercial real estate, it says, SUNY Erie, county faces lawsuit over athletic field project. And there's a picture here. Let's see. I can't even guess. I know it's on the field itself, whether it's in a baseball diamond section or football diamond, but it says, the construction of a new athletic field at SUNY Erie's North Campus has resulted in a lawsuit. Oh my. Okay. And the picture, by the way, shows the concrete bleachers And one of the light fixtures looks like they have the soccer goals lined up in front of the stands there. So probably it's a football and soccer field combined. And most of these county fields feature baseball as well. But anyways, PM Pavement alleges amount of work needed was misrepresented. A contractor has sued Erie County alleging that the county misrepresented the amount of work necessary to build an athletic field at SUNY Erie's North Campus. In a complaint filed in the State Supreme Court of Erie County, I''M Pavement of Clarence alleges, that's PM Pavement, alleges that it has incurred $1.1 million in unexpected costs for the project that the county has not reimbursed. A representative of the Erie County Department of Law Legislation Office did not return Business First request for a comment, and the county has not yet officially responded to the lawsuit. PM Pavement owner Paul Marinaccio said he still hopes to reach an agreement with the county. And here's a quote: "I don't like to go to court. I try to avoid going to court." Close quote. According to the complaint, PM Pavement submitted and was awarded a $4.5 million bid for the athletic field project. Work started in May. Marinaccio said that bid was based on technical documents provided by the county and engineers at Wendell Companies, particularly soil boring reports that showed the property's conditions. Marinaccio said those reports understated the actual conditions of the site. He expected to remove about 3,550 cubic yards of topsoil, but needed to remove nearly 11,000. This meant he needed about twice as much clay to refill the site after digging up the topsoil. He said the site was then significantly more rocky than reported. And another quote from PM: "It doesn't matter how much money it costs you out of your pocket. You have to finish the project and keep going." Close quote. On August 18th, Pavement work struck a buried electrical line, causing a power outage at the college campus. The complaint alleges that power line was not shown on the plans provided to PM Pavement. The following day, the county issued a stop work order, which remained in place more than 2 weeks. This was the height of construction season, putting the project significantly behind schedule, according to the written complaint. Marinaccio said he continued to pay his temporary workers during this stretch. If he had laid them off, he said, he believed they would have quickly be hired by other companies, leaving him without manpower when work resumed. He also said he repeatedly submitted change orders asking the county for more money, but these were rejected each time. Marinaccio said the project was meant to be a lump sum job in which the contractor sees a single price up front. However, he said he's taken other jobs in which property owners paid additional costs above the lump sum when the job proved more costly than expected due to circumstances outside the contractor's control. And here's another quote from Mr. Paul. Okay, "I've done several of these lump sum jobs, and when there's a problem, you can explain it. You're not cheating whoever you're working for. They pay you for it." Close quote. Due to the delays, work on the new athletic field is not quite done. Despite the lawsuit, Marinaccio and his attorney said he will be back to work when the weather clears to finish the work. And now, Jacob Honan, attorney for Rupp Pfalzgraf, representing PM Pavement, says PM Pavement always has been committed to completing the project. So there you go. What lies beneath, I guess, could have been a subheading for that one. County faces lawsuit after athletic field project. So that's the end of page 4. And Those 3 articles or items were given to us, written for us by Jacob Tierney. So next we have, excuse me, the business of sports. And there's 2 items here, and one is a mystery. Here we go, a mystery quote. And these are presented to us by Leon Bunny. And here's the quote. Bob Rich Jr. would be the first to tell you that they could have never foreseen the marketing opportunity that came of purchasing these naming rights. Okay. Bob Rich Jr. would be the first to tell you that they could have never foreseen the marketing opportunity that came of purchasing these naming rights. Okay, well, this is a quote from Dwight Graham, Rich Products Senior Vice President of Organizational Culture and Reputation, on the origins of Rich Stadium's name. Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, once again, Bob Rich Jr. would be the first to tell you that they would never have foreseen the marketing opportunity that came of purchasing those naming rights. And we find out, of course, it's the naming rights for Rich Stadium, way back when. Okay, the second and final one here under the business of sports, skiing. And there's a man smiling there, Rhett McNulty, owner of Kissing Bridge Ski Resort. Well, if I may make an aside here, given the amount of snow we've had, hey, I'll bet he's thrilled. But anyways, it says, more partnerships, offerings on tap for Kissing Bridge. New owners focus, how do we improve that great experience? More partnerships, more events and updates to food and beverage offerings are planned for Kissing Bridge All Seasons Resort after getting a new owner in 2024. Rhett McNulty, who purchased the Glenwood Resort in fall of 2024 for $1.6 million, said he's focused on adding to existing customers' experience while acquiring new customers in a drive for long-term value. Among his latest efforts are forming 2 partnerships, adding talent, new events, and aspirations for next winter season. And here's a quote. Our biggest focus is to remain keeping snow on the ground of the resort. Outside of that, how do we improve that guest experience? Everything from parking to the activities they engage in to the food and music they experience here. Kissing Bridge announced in December a reciprocal partnership with Holymont Ski Resort in Ellicottville. This collaboration means Kissing Bridge night season pass holders get 25% off Holymont's public weekday lift tickets, and Holymont's weekday pass holders and members get 25% off Kissing Bridge night passes. The partnership is not monetary. Instead, it's meant to expand options for skiers and benefit both resorts. Now, McNulty, who is a California-based startup founder and investor, says, I really have a focus on the lifetime value of the customer from a startup perspective. Skiing is one of those activities that you generally start young and you become a participant for your lifetime. Kissing Bridge in December hired married couple Delilah Roman Cohen and Grant Cohen to lead food and beverage services, and Stephanie Horner was hired as wedding coordinator. McNulty says, we've been investing in our food and beverage. We're having entertainment regularly, at least 2 times a week, and increasing food service. That group is also helping in launching our wedding program. Close quote. Along with weddings, he's looking to hold more events at Kissing Bridge. The resort is hosting a snowmobile race in February as part of Jerry Rice Racing's Snow Drag series. McNulty's strategies appear to be paying off. Kissing Bridge's 2025 pass sales more than double 2024's total. Day tickets are also doubled, showing growth in new customers for the resort. So, in conclusion, Leon Bunny writes, what's next for KB? Particularly on tap for future winter seasons are free ski lessons and creating partnerships to offer adaptive passes for regional families that ski and snowboard. The resort has formed a partnership with the University of Buffalo School of Architecture and Planning that will see the students map, design, and present future possibilities for the resort over 3 semesters. Okay, so that's it for page 5. And on page 6, we're going to be dealing with the business of healthcare. Okay, and by the way, it's time again to remind you you're listening to a reading of articles and features from Buffalo Business First, right here on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. So now, as I mentioned here, we have on page 6 the business of healthcare, and there are 1, 2, 3 items again, no mysteries here, but Tracy Drury presents us with the first of these 3. Job cuts. ECMC to lay off 150 and impose furloughs. Erie County Medical Center is laying off about 150 workers and imposing furloughs as it deals with ongoing financial pressures. The layoffs include some nurses and administrative staff, but primarily affect non-clinical staff. Affected workers were notified the morning of January 29th. The cuts affect about 3% of the hospital's workforce. Additionally, all management confidential employees, non-union staff that include management-level employees, will be taking an unpaid 1-week furlough in 2026, the hospital said. Peter Cutler, ECMC Senior Vice President for Communications and External Affairs, pointed to inadequate reimbursements from both private and government funders, wage inflation, and financial pressures from rising costs for supplies and pharmaceuticals. And Cutler adds, we're now one of 100-plus hospitals coast to coast who have gone through this. This is systemic, and it's not something we take lightly. Revenue at ECMC grew in 2025 to $930 million from $918 million in 2024, and up from $871 million the year prior, while its net operating loss fell from $6.2 million to $5 million. The 573-bed hospital is continuing a freeze on hiring for non-clinical staffers and has been reducing overtime to help decrease costs. So, okay, that was Tracy Drury about ECMC and their layoffs. Next we go to Chautauqua County. $42 million hospital conversion project wins incentives. The redevelopment of a shuttered hospital in Chautauqua County will move forward after county officials approved incentives. The Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency on January 27th approved financial incentives for a $42 million project to convert the former TLC Lakeshore Hospital in Irving into an addictions treatment and behavioral health center. The project comes from Main Road Med Group, LLC, doing business as New York Medical Center, which completed a $2 million acquisition in May 2025 of the 33-acre property at 845 Main Road. The company wants to create a 180-bed facility offering behavioral health, substance abuse, inpatient and outpatient services with a staff of 350 to 400. The project will be funded in part through the federal EB-5 visa program. Future plans for the site also call for medical offices and commercial retail space. The CCIDA approved a 15-year adaptive reuse payment in lieu of taxes incentive, along with a sales tax abatement and mortgage tax exemption. According to a news release from the county, the deal will produce payments over the life of the project totaling nearly $2.5 million. So again, that's a project on Main Road, and that's in Irving, New York. Okay, and finally, the largest article on business of healthcare here on page 6 is Cancer Care. $1 million collaborative shelved 7 years after launch. There's a picture of Dr. Roberto Pil, Dr. Roberto Pitt, Kaleida Health's physician leader on oncology, said the lack of a clear leading voice hurt the Great Lakes Cancer Care collaborative effort. Okay. Individual marketing resumes, former partners cite confusing messaging. The Great Lakes Cancer Collaborative has been shelved after more than $1 million was invested in marketing efforts. Instead, Kaleida Health, Erie County Medical Center, and the other partners have returned to marketing their cancer services individually. The shift comes 7 years after 8 partners began joint marketing and recruited a top leader away from Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Care to lead the effort. Though the individual organizations are collaborating in the background, they're using their own names and organizations. That was emphasized in mid-December when Kaleida launched a rebranding effort for Kaleida Health Cancer Care. Though the system is highly recognized for its stroke care, people don't necessarily know about its cancer screenings and testing, emergency and critical care treatment, surgery, and survivorship support, said Dr. Michael Minio, Kaleida's chief medical officer. The Great Lakes Cancer moniker included a common call center line to improve navigation and coordination between the 8 provider groups. Without a leading organization and with so many partners, the message was lost, says Dr. Roberto Pili, it's P-I-L-I, Kaleida's physician leader of oncology. And he says, having a leading organization will help to convey a stronger message about the quality of care that we provide. That was missing as part of the Great Lakes Cancer Care. Kaleida began building its cancer service line a decade ago with the acquisition of Western New York Urology and Cancer Care of Western New York, giving it established practice sites in Chautauqua and Niagara counties. In addition to neurosurgical and thoracic oncology, Kaleida has seen growth in several areas. That includes a 10% year overall increase on the infusion services after a $1.3 million investment for an infusion center that opened in early 2025 at Buffalo General Medical Center. Since 2018, Kaleida said it has seen a 107% increase in new prostate cancer cases, a 73% increase in pancreas cancer cases, and a 69% increase in bladder cancer cases. Lung and colon cases increased by 33 and 29% respectively. Okay, so that was the 3 articles on the business of healthcare, all by Tracy Drury, and that's the end of page 6. And let's see now. Page 7 is literally a mystery number and an article, and then a half a page of it is ads. So we'll get to that in just a second with Katie Anderson presenting us these stories. Okay, so I think we'll go with the larger article first. It says, West Seneca, WorkSport launches product nearly a decade in the making. And there's a picture here of Stephen Rossi, who's the CEO of WorkSport, who says, we brought something to market that's never existed before that people are buying. Well, that piques my curiosity. WorkSport launches product nearly a decade in the making. CEO hopes to hit $50 million in sales, partially thanks to new battery system. A West Seneca manufacturer is celebrating the first deliveries of a key product it's been working on for years. WorkSport recently received its first batch of COR portable battery systems from a Chinese manufacturing site where they are being made. The system can be paired with the company's Solis, a solar panel tonneau cover for pickup trucks. And that's TONNEAU. So Core and Solis became available for purchase on the company's website in December. And Stephen Rossi says, it's a new market in a relatively new it's a new product in a relatively new market. We're starting the marketing engines and the pre-orders have been filled, and it's pretty significant. Okay, it's a product his company has been working on to develop since 2019. He said the company was ready to launch earlier in 2025, but recent and stricter UI certification standards were released. Since the company didn't want to produce the COR with outdated battery safety standards, it was revamped to meet those new standards. And he adds another quote here. It resulted in the reduction of our battery capacity, which actually reduced the price of the unit. We brought something to market that's never existed before, and people are buying. It does get a little exhausting navigating uncharted territories for a number of years because you're building on a hope. But now they have something that we're monetizing. It all feels worth it. Close quote. While the COR is being made in China, the Wasenica plant is making a variety of the tonneau covers the company is known for. Rossi said the local plan is planning a fourth product launch in March for another tonneau cover. The local plant has about 70 full-time workers and about 30 or 40 part-time temps. And he adds, our business is becoming a bit more cyclical than usual. I think the consumer is a little exhausted because people are waiting for sale periods like Black Friday. Okay, now the company worked to regain compliance with NASDAQ in 2025 after it fell below the $1 minimum bid rule in 2024. In March 2025, the company did a $1 for 10 reversal and stock split to increase the trading price and regain compliance. Russell said the company has remained in compliance ever since. And here's a final quote from him, from Katie Anderson, but actually the quote's from Stephen Rossi. As a small business still under $100 million in sales, it's difficult to get more than the book value of the business. As we get more into the higher end of our revenue targets and as we get more into the energy markets, we may see stronger evaluations. We have some big intentions for this year to hopefully get sales into the $40 million to $50 million range. Well, best of luck, Worksport, out in Wasenica. And that's the end of page 7. And my gosh, we made it to the cover story, poised to take off. And there's that battery that, or not the battery, the light bulb that rose above all the others. Okay, now, this is written by Josh Gully, and it's got that, there's a light bulb in this socket that has risen above the others. Well, this is focusing on the one that has risen above the others, and it says, poised to take off. These 5 Buffalo startups offer some very different products or services, but they have one thing in common. They're off to strong starts. For the past 5 years, Buffalo Business First has highlighted a handful of startups poised to make waves. This year's startups to watch have been around for years, while others are in their earliest stages and paving a path toward profitability. They've raised funding, built facilities, and created new products. And they're doing it right here in Buffalo. Their services are far-ranging, from AI tools for construction and healthcare to innovations in food and medical devices. They are part of an ecosystem ranked number 10 in MarketBeat's list of cities most supportive of startups, which describes Buffalo as, and here's a quote about our Queen City, an ideal launch pad for entrepreneurs to grow their ventures via funding opportunities and tax incentives. MarketBeat also touts the annual 43 North Finals and incubators such as Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus Innovation Center and the University at Buffalo. But here are this year's startups to watch. And you gotta love the first name here, the first person, the first company. Sharon Cryan's company is called Food Nerd. One word, Food Nerd. Sharon Cryan went from being a lawyer to providing healthy food for toddlers. The career change was inspired by her desire to make children healthier, a passion first ignited during her childhood in Buffalo. Raised by a single mother of 6 with multiple sclerosis, Cryan said her family did not have access to healthy options in the food desert. After seeing ultra-processed foods hurt her loved ones, she said she began passionately avoiding them. Cryan exited her legal career to launch Food Nerd in 2019. The company's Mega Puffs are a shelf-stable snack containing 100% organic fruits and vegetables that retain their nutrients through a proprietary freeze-dried technique. One pack provides children 100% of their daily fruit and vegetable needs. The company employs 14, and its products can be found in about 100 Western New York grocery stores. Unable to meet the demand, Cryan said Food Nerd has essentially small revenue in 2025. Then, Food Nerd's new 30,000 square foot Clarence manufacturing facility came online in June, enabling production at a commercial scale. With that milestone, Cryan is focused on growth, with plans to boost direct-to-consumer subscription sales in 2026. She said Food Nerd will also expand its store presence with launches in 2 major retailers. Food Nerd recently closed a $7.5 million seed round, which Cryan said will be used in part for marketing initiatives and to create a, and in quotes, content engine that educates parents, challenges outdated assumptions in kids' food, and makes nutrition feel approachable rather than overwhelming. Okay, so that's Sharon Cryan and her company Food Nerd. The next one is Will Zacher, and it's called Make Off. Submitting bids can be difficult for electrical contractors. The process can involve 100-plus page blueprints with small footnotes that can cause costly mistakes when overlooked. It's a problem Makeoff hopes to solve via artificial intelligence. The company's generative AI reviews blueprints and creates estimates, spotting contradictions, gaps, and risks in a matter of minutes. Launched in August, Makeoff is the first company under the 43 North venture studio Radial Ventures, which aims to scale high-growth startups in Buffalo. Makeoff founder Will Zacher declined to provide exact financial details of the Radial agreement, but he said the venture studio took over the company's payroll costs and hired employees in exchange for equity. And he says, in this quote, "We've been very happy with how that's worked out. It's allowed us to do things we wouldn't have been able to do normally and access the talent that we would have difficulty recruiting." Close quote. Makeoff has 5 full-time employees and about 4 part-time workers. Zacher said the company has seen 60% month-over-month growth, and that's even with initial quality assurance issues with the platform's AI component that have since been resolved. Early successes, he said, included helping a firm with a $4 million electrical project for Amtrak, a process that included, in quotes, catching something in the notes that one of the other bidders had missed, close quote. Zacher said the company wants to raise $2 million in the first half of 2026 to expand into trades such as plumbing and HVAC before the year's end. Okay, that's Makeoff with Will Zacher. And now we have one, I'll call this a mystery title, Physician X. It's the word physician with X at the end. So it's one word, Physician X. Co-founder, Michelle Fisher. Physician X is on a mission to make life easier for physicians and the hospital systems hiring them. The company combines artificial intelligence and expert advice to help physicians land jobs. Its services include a career matching engine, contract analyses, interview preparation, and career path guidance. Physician X was formed in 2023 by Irfan Khan, a physician and founder of Circuit Clinical, and Michelle Fisher, who has managed finances at a variety of organizations, including at UBMD as the company's CFO. Here's a quote, "We're going to reduce burden. Let's reduce the burden of the employers because that's where I came from. Also for the physician because that's where EFON came from. One of our goals is to make a physician's life easier on the business side of medicine," close quote. So far, 400 plus users have signed up, and the company has placed 2 physicians in jobs. Fisher said PhysicianX is conducting initial placements in a methodical process, learning how to best fit employer needs. The platform is free to physicians and available to employers for a fee. Fisher said 10 employers under contract are early adopters, providing feedback to hone the product. PhysicianX raised $1.3 million in 2025, with many of the investors being physicians who, Fisher said, saw the need for the service. Looking forward, Fisher says the company plans to prove market fit, enter its seed stage, and produce revenue in quarter 1 of 2026. It's also aiming to have over 1,000 physician users following an upcoming campaign to get the word out about the platform. Well, good for her as well. So we have Food Nerd, Makeoff, PhysicianX, and now we have Edenesque. I like that. So it's one word, Edenesque. Edenesque. Edenesque is growing, and the founder is Leslie Woodward. The company's plant-based milk is already available at over 200 locations, from retailers and coffee shops to the corporate offices of Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger. Its presence will soon expand. Founder Leslie Woodward said new sales brokers will help stretch the company's footprint down the East Coast and into the Midwest. The popularity of Edenesque's pistachio milk, in part, necessitated the company's recent launch of a $1 million convertible note raised to fund orders that need to be filled. Founded in 2014, Woodward said the company did not raise much in an initial friend and family round, having bootstrapped all the way until 2023, she says. The company has now raised over $1.9 million. Now here's a quote again. "It's really an exciting time for us to move forward, and anyone that wants to join the journey, the time is now to come along with us," close quote. As Edenesque scales, Woodward wants to build community. As part of a food insecurity initiative, the company will provide milk to food insecure individuals with allergies or lactose intolerance through a partnership with Feed More of Western New York. Woodward is exploring further ways to deepen Edenesque's impact throughout the state. This year, she also hopes to increase the company's business-to-consumer sales. Woodward expects the company to break even by May, much earlier than her previous prediction of early 2027. Okay, so that was Edenesque, Leslie Woodward. And finally, the last one is Cozy, C-O-S-I, Cozy Care. And the founders are Lauren Bell and Sandeep Lethal. Cozy Care co-founders Lauren Bell and Sandeep Lethal recently relocated from London to Buffalo, where they hope to open a manufacturing facility for their itch relief product line. The move followed October's 43 North Finals, where the company won a $1 million investment in exchange for 5% equity in relocation to Buffalo. Cozy Care's line of medical devices provides instant relief for conditions from eczema and bug bites to sunburn. Bell and Lethal have long wanted to move to the U.S., which they view as Cozy Care's largest potential market. Buffalo was of particular interest, with the company having applied for the 43 North Finals twice before its successful pitch. After moving into Seneca One Tower downtown in January, they spent time getting to know the community. Going forward, they want to replicate their UK operations and start manufacturing in Buffalo. And Bell says, "We knew that we wanted to be here. We knew that we wanted to manufacture here. Then the more and more we learned about Buffalo, the more time we spent here, we actually realized this is a fantastic hub for us and a great place to grow." Hear, hear, if I may say that. Cozy Care had already sold products to 50,000 customers before arriving in Buffalo, In addition to 4,000 recent pre-orders, Bell and Lethal are Cozy Care's only 2 current employees. They said staying lean has allowed them to reinvest into the business, which is profitable and has more than doubled its revenue every year since launching in 2019. Now here's another quote. He says, it's effectively helped us to grow our offerings to our customers and ultimately allows us to create an ecosystem rather than just 1 or 2 products, which helps scale the business. So there you go. The companies again: Food Nerd, Makeoff, Physician X, Edenesque, and Cozy Care. And that's the end of page 10. So, I'm sorry to say, my time with you is through, and just wanted you to know you've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the, let's see now, February 6th through 12th issue of Buffalo Business First. We read from Buffalo Business First every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Your reader has been Fran McNamara, and I really want to give you a sincere thank you for tuning in, for listening. And again, don't forget about our website. Just put in your browser. All you need to put in is NFRRS, and it will take you where you want to go. How easy is that? Thank you very much for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have Time Magazine. At 8 o'clock, we have the New York Times. And following that, at 9 o'clock, we have Discover Magazine. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. Thank you for listening. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,